Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are cutting through the noise to give you that ultimate shortcut, that deep understanding of some of the real giants of the global economy.
And we're focusing on a part of the world that's just evolving so rapidly.
Exactly. We're looking at the figures shaping the future of Africa, a continent whose, its economic evolution really demands our close attention.
It really does.
Our mission today is, well, it's crystal clear. We've taken this stack of sources you've provided, and we're going to extract the absolute core of a powerhouse profile.
So not just the facts and figures, but the strategy behind it all.
Precisely. Who they are, the sheer scale of their control, and what the defining strategy really is. We're connecting the dots to understand true economic leverage.
I think leverage is the perfect word for it.
Okay, let's unpack this. The individual at the absolute epicenter of all this, the founder of an enterprise that quite literally builds and feeds nations, is Aliko Dangote.
And that's where we have to start, because the context is it's enormous. When you really dig into the sources, the scale of his enterprise is breathtaking.
It's hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about a figure who is often recognized globally as the richest man in Africa. But that simple title, it doesn't even begin to capture the complexity of the empire he founded, the Dangote Group.
No, it doesn't. Exactly. When you analyze other global billionaires, they so often specialize,
Right. Tech algorithms or high-end luxury goods, something niche.
But the foundation of this wealth, it's fundamentally different. It's built not on the ephemeral, but on the absolutely indispensable.
What's fascinating here is the strategy is one of just relentless vertical integration.
Yeah.
And it's all aimed at sort of national self-sufficiency.
Self-sufficiency, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah. The group's focus is on the essential, the fundamental goods that, both new and established economies need just to operate and to grow. These aren't niche markets at all.
They're the bedrock.
They're the bedrock of daily life and all infrastructure.
We know from the source material that the Dangote Group has these broad interests across 5 key, diverse, and foundational sectors. But I think it helps to look at them in 2 distinct categories.
Okay.
Because if you understand the strategic pairing here, that's really the key to understanding the empire's resilience.
So we can group them into the things that sustain life and the things that enable development.
Exactly.
The first category is focused entirely on essential food commodities. I mean, the absolute staples of human consumption. This includes sugar,
Right.
flour, and salt.
And these aren't just minor sidelines, are they?
Yeah.
If you have control here, you have influence over food security itself.
Oh, absolutely.
If you control sugar, flour, and salt, the basics, you control the input costs for a huge network of other businesses, from local bakeries all the way up to mass food producers.
And that strategic choice, it's driven by a really powerful economic theory. It's called import substitution.
Explain that a bit.
Well, for many growing economies, relying on foreign imports for your essentials, it leads to a massive drain on your foreign currency reserves. And it makes you vulnerable to global supply shocks.
Of course.
Dangote's strategy, at least according to the sources, has been to completely reverse that. Produce massive volumes domestically to meet your own national demand first.
And that shift, that's hugely capital intensive, right? But the payoff is that resilience you mentioned.
Totally. If you're the one making the flour instead of waiting on a shipment from overseas, you insulate your market from those wild global price spikes.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's really all about stability, isn't it?
It is. By dominating the production of these staples, the company helps stabilize the local supply chain. But there's another side to that.
Which is?
This level of dominance also means they face very, very little domestic competition. That gives them powerful leverage over pricing and distribution.
That makes sense. Okay, now let's pivot to that second, equally crucial category, the enablers.
The enablers. I like that.
These are the components required to literally build the economy and then power the movement of all those food staples we just talked about. We're talking about cement and oil.
And this is where the sheer scale of the operation becomes, well, it's just so visible. Cement isn't just a commodity.
Yeah.
It's the physical language of development.
Yeah.
Every single road, bridge, dam, port, every high-rise.
Yeah.
It all depends on cement.
And the sources confirm that the Dangote cement operation is immense. We're not just talking about running a factory.
Not at all.
It's operating facilities in multiple countries across the continent, which makes it the largest cement producer in sub-Saharan Africa. And what's critical here is that concept of barriers to entry.
Ah, yes.
Building one of these massive, efficient cement plants requires billions in capital, access to limestone reserves, and these incredibly complex logistics networks.
Yeah.
Once you're at that scale, competitors just can't easily catch up.
Absolutely. The investment needed it's astronomical. And that's a built-in defense. It's a moat around the business.
Yeah.
But here is where that vertical integration we mentioned ties it all together.
Go on.
The cement operations aren't just selling to the public. They are also building the massive production facilities needed for the flour mills and the sugar refineries that also belong to the Dangote Group.
Okay, stop there. Think about that synergy for a moment. You just have to appreciate that. They build their own infrastructure with their own cement.
Yes.
They then move the goods using their own energy inputs, which we'll get to. That dramatically cuts down your reliance on external contractors or, fluctuating costs.
And it gives them a huge margin advantage over any potential competitor who has to pay market rates for construction and for fuel.
This strategic concentration is what makes the whole structure so incredibly resilient. They aren't just selling a product.
No, they're providing the economic chassis itself,
Yeah.
the foundation for development. That's the cement
Yeah.
and the sustenance of the population, the sugar, the flour, the salt.
Which is why the structure holds firm, no matter which specific sector might be booming at any given moment.
Exactly. It's incredibly defensive.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting, and where the sources highlight this massive recent pivot. The fifth sector, oil.
Right. For years, this meant involvement in energy trading and distribution, but that has changed dramatically.
With a Dangote Refinery?
The refinery is a complete game changer. It fundamentally transitions the group from being a commodity and industrial titan into an energy infrastructure powerhouse.
Yeah.
This project is what dominates all the recent profiles.
It's one of the largest single-train refineries in the entire world.
The numbers are just.
Yeah.
They're difficult to comprehend.
We are talking about staggering figures here. The capacity is designed to process hundreds of thousands of barrels of crude oil every single day.
Right.
To put that in perspective for you, the listener, this one facility is designed to meet virtually all of its home country's domestic needs for refined products. We're talking gasoline, diesel, jet fuel.
And still have enough left over to become a major global exporter.
It's import substitution on a scale that is just. It's previously unseen in the region.
Think about the macroeconomic implications of that for a second. Many countries that produce crude oil, they actually have to ship it overseas to be refined.
And then buy it back.
Then they buy the refined gasoline back at market rates. That dependency is a massive drain on national finances, and it exposes them to international price manipulation.
So by building this refinery, the group is creating a secure, localized supply of fuel. And remember that synergy we talked about?
The closed loop.
The closed loop. All those cement trucks, all the logistics fleets moving sugar and flour, all the machinery in the plants, they run on diesel and power generated using these very same refined products.
It creates a closed loop system of energy independence for the entire conglomerate.
An enormous negotiating leverage.
Unparalleled. If you control the cement that builds the roads, and the fuel that powers the vehicles on those roads, your ability to influence policy, trade, regional distribution, it's on another level.
The sources make it really clear that the sheer capital expenditure on this project is a statement. It's a statement about long-term commitment to national and regional development.
It's a fantastic illustration, really, of the difference between just being wealthy
Right.
and being systemically integrated into an economy. That level of control over essential inputs, from the material of a building to the fuel for construction, that is the key insight you should be pulling from these sources.
Okay, but this kind of monumental scale, it doesn't come without complexity, does it? While that focus on domestic production, the import substitution drives development, this level of dominance inevitably raises some important questions that we see in the source material.
And it does raise that important question. When one single entity gets to this level of scale and strategic concentration across staples like flour and infrastructure like cement, what does that mean for market competition, for local consumers?
Exactly. The advantage of a monopoly or a near monopoly is that it brings stability and volume. But the downside is the potential for eliminating price competition. And while the sources generally celebrate the developmental aspect of these huge projects, it's worth noting that constant tension between national growth and consumer pricing power that comes up when competition is scarce.
And the resilience of the business model is almost unmatched, precisely because they control necessities. If the price of crude oil drops, they're hedged by the stable demand for cement.
And if infrastructure spending slows down?
People still need to buy sugar and flour. This portfolio structure is just defensive by its very design. It's extremely difficult to disrupt.
The sources also paint a picture of relentless reinvestment. It's not just about profit-taking.
No, the profits from those high-margin staples and the cement operations are plowed directly back into the next massive capital project,
Yeah.
like the refinery.
Creating a cycle of exponential growth and increased influence.
That's the real strategic genius of it. They're using the cash flow from essential low-volatility sectors like food to fund their entry into these massive high-impact infrastructure sectors.
Cement and oil refining.
It's a self-sustaining engine of expansion.
So what does this all mean? Let's distill this powerful knowledge we've gained for you. Aliko Dangote is the founder of the Dangote Group, which built its empire not on, fleeting trends, but on essential human needs and infrastructure.
And the group's influence is strategically rooted in 5 key, diverse, and very tightly connected sectors. You have cement and oil.
The infrastructure and energy enablers.
And then sugar, flour, and salt, the fundamental food staples.
This industrial profile, characterized by massive vertical integration and a core strategy of import substitution, is the defining factor behind his economic might and his status as, often, the richest man in Africa.
It really is a story of controlling the physical inputs required to both sustain and build a modern economy.
A truly fascinating deep dive into how economic power is built and then how it's maintained, through mastering the necessities. Thank you for joining us as we unpack this profile of one of the world's most critical industrialists.
And as you reflect on the unique position of the Dangote Group, here's a final provocative thought for you to consider, based entirely on the strategic facts we've just reviewed.
Okay.
Given this concentration of control over essential infrastructure like cement, energy like oil, and basic human necessities like sugar, flour, and salt, how does this incredible vertical integration affect a government's ability to independently regulate prices or respond to internal economic pressures without the cooperation of this single, powerful entity?
Something for you to mull over, that delicate balance between private economic might and public policy. We'll see you soon for the next deep dive.